This is the Marching Revolution podcast.
Boots on the ground with a thunderous beat. Hearts in sync, our purpose complete. Map of the future drawn by our stride. Through the struggle we walk unified.
All right, welcome everyone to the Marching Revolution. We are so amped to dive deep today.
Totally.
We're not just tuning in, we're going to ignite a discussion about the pulsating heart of drum corps. I think it's safe to say it's a dynamic and evolving movement, one that's ripe for some radical rethinking.
For all of you out there, all of you learners, we know you're curious about this world. We know you're out there.
Yes. You want to understand all the inner workings and all the possibilities.
Yeah.
And possible futures of drum corps. So consider this your front row seat.
Absolutely.
To this huge exploration of what drum corps is, and more importantly, what it could be.
Yeah, this isn't just a surface level thing. This is an extensive deep dive. We've got a bunch of sources. We're going to really go deep with these things.
Yes.
We've got one article.
Yes.
That's it's a bold vision piece.
Really bold.
It lays out a truly revolutionary future for drum corps.
I love it.
But alongside that, we've also got some YouTube videos and some TikToks. Just really raw, unfiltered experiences from people who have lived this activity.
Yes.
And we'll also look at just kind of the daily grind and some of the practices that have come to light.
Yes.
And we're going to look at all this while keeping an eye on the financial side of things.
Definitely.
So we've also got a compilation of refund policies.
Oh, yes.
From various different drum corps.
Okay, so this bold future vision article, it's really throwing down the gauntlet.
It is.
It tackles this idea that's really prevalent, this idea that drum corps is a meritocracy.
Right.
So the thinking goes, if you have the talent, you put in the work, you'll rise to the top. But this article is really pushing back on that, saying that it's a smokescreen for way less democratic reality.
Absolutely.
It's saying that there's actually a real class divide that determines who even gets a chance to participate.
Right. And I think what's fascinating about the article is that it connects this argument to actual financial realities.
Yeah.
It says that talent and hard work alone, they're not enough.
Right.
You have to be able to pay.
Yes.
That's a fundamental barrier.
Yes.
And when you look at the drum corps refund policies, we've got organizations like the Cavaliers, Spirit of Atlanta, Pacific Crest, Carolina Crown, Phantom Regiment, Blue Devils, Blue Knights, Blue Coats, Sacramento Mandarins. And the pattern is clear. Non-refundable audition fees. That's the norm.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because these organizations, they often operate as nonprofits.
Right.
But yet you have to put down a huge amount of money.
Just to try out.
I mean, what does that tell you about who's able to even take that initial leap?
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
That initial cost is a huge obstacle for so many people who want to be part of this activity.
Right.
And the article goes even deeper. It suggests that it's not even just about the money.
Right.
Connections and fitting a certain ideal image. Those can play a huge part too.
Absolutely.
So how many incredibly talented people are being excluded just because they don't know the right people?
Yeah.
Or because they don't look a certain way?
Yeah.
It's a huge question.
Right. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, the article paints a pretty stark image of just the financial strain that's involved, even if you get selected.
Right.
They call it the unbearable cost. And that just forces us to ask some serious questions. Is the current model of drum corps sustainable? Right. Can it be accessible?
Yeah.
But maybe one of the most unsettling things in the article is this practice of over-recruiting.
Yeah, this is tough. The idea that organizations are bringing in more people than they have spots for.
Yeah.
And they're taking their fees and tuition only to cut a bunch of them before the season even starts.
Yeah.
Or they designate them as alternates. So these people are still going through the whole grueling rehearsal process.
Yeah.
But with no guarantee that they'll ever perform.
Yeah. And imagine the emotional toll of that.
Oh, it's huge.
Just having your time and resources exploited.
It just raises some serious questions about what values are really driving this activity.
Absolutely. And the article makes this connection between this practice and the myths of capitalism.
Yeah.
Like scarcity and competition.
Yes.
This idea that you have to pit individuals against each other for limited opportunities.
Okay.
Even within an activity that's supposed to be artistic and collaborative.
It's so messed up. Like, how can you talk about healthy competition when the power dynamics are so out of balance?
Right.
You know, the organization has all the power.
Exactly.
And the individual participant is left with so little.
And I think to really understand this issue, we have to move beyond the big picture.
Yeah.
And look at the actual experiences of the people involved.
Absolutely.
And there's this YouTube channel, EMC Productions.
Yes.
They've got some powerful firsthand accounts.
Yes.
That really show you the reality.
Yeah.
Of trying to make it in drum corps.
It can be really rough.
In one video, it's called 17 Times I Auditioned and Got CUT.
Oh, wow.
And this is someone with a lot of experience. 8 years of marching band, DCI and WGI.
Wow.
And he got cut from the old guard. They said he was deficient in marching.
Oh, my gosh. After all that experience.
I believe it.
It's crazy. It shows you how subjective these evaluations are.
Totally.
Like someone with that kind of background gets told they're deficient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes you wonder what they're really looking for.
Right.
And you can hear the frustration in his voice, too.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about the financial burden of auditioning.
Yeah.
And how he treated himself to this really expensive comfort meal afterwards.
Oh, wow.
It was like a little rebellion,
Yeah.
against this unexpected setback. It really shows you the financial commitment involved, even when you don't get a contract.
Right. And in another video, the same creator, it's called My First Drum Corps Experience.
Okay.
He talks about his very first DCI audition with the cadets.
Okay.
He was a senior in high school. And this video, it really gives you a glimpse of the culture shock, the intensity that people experience when they first enter this world.
Right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
The first thing he talks about, again, is the audition fee.
Yeah.
That financial hurdle right from the start.
Like a barrier to entry.
And then he's thrown into this totally unfamiliar environment.
Yeah.
Different drums, a new harness system.
Oh, yeah?
Which he struggles with. And then right away, he gets corrected for not playing loud enough.
Oh, wow.
And that seems like a basic thing, right? Like, play your instrument loud enough.
Yeah.
But in the world of DCI, it's a whole other level.
Yeah.
They just throw these young musicians into the deep end.
Yeah, and that intensity just keeps going.
It does.
With the visual audition, having to learn left foot lead after years of marching right foot first.
Right.
The constant corrections on his technique, while also being pushed to play louder.
Yeah.
It's so demanding.
And then the individual audition.
Oh.
Imagine performing in front of these drum corps legends.
Like who?
Like Colin McNutt, Tom Oakes.
Yeah.
That level of scrutiny would be nerve-wracking for anyone.
Definitely.
Especially a 17-year-old in this intense new world.
Yeah. And he knew he wasn't going to get a contract.
Yeah.
But he still pushed through.
Yeah.
Focused on personal growth.
That's resilience.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that resilience comes up again and again in these stories.
It's really striking. And, you know, these struggles aren't just physical and technical.
Right.
There's a huge emotional toll, too.
Oh, definitely.
And if you look on TikTok, there are these glimpses into the emotional side of tour life.
Yeah.
You see it in the comments under hashtags like hashtag #DShe and hashtag #DrumCorps. You know, there's this one user with troopers. They just posted, "Stay strong, friends, hashtag DC, hashtag #DrumCorps."
Yeah, it's short, but it really tells you something.
It does.
About how hard it is to be away from home for such a long time with such a demanding schedule.
And you see that even when people get a call back.
Yeah.
There's still this sadness about being away from loved ones.
Yeah, it really humanizes the performers.
It does.
You know? It reminds you that behind these incredible performances are individuals making real sacrifices.
And the adjustment doesn't just end when the tour is over.
Right.
There's this trend on TikTok of people talking about adjusting to post-tour life.
It's tough.
Yeah, going back to normal after such an intense experience.
It can be a real struggle.
And then there's the physical demands.
Yeah.
You know, they're training like crazy before the season even starts.
Yes.
There are all these videos about understanding the challenges of drum corps life.
It's intense.
And the importance of sleep.
Oh my gosh, sleep is so important.
It is. But it's so hard to get enough sleep on tour.
Yeah.
There are videos with tips on how to become a sleep goat.
Yeah.
Just to deal with the exhaustion.
It's clear that this activity demands so much, physically and emotionally.
And it does.
But the challenges don't stop there.
Right.
There's a darker side to this world.
Yeah.
And there's a video on YouTube. It's called Breaking Down the Drum Corps Iceberg.
Okay.
It's on CJ's Music's channel. And it talks about some really unethical practices.
What kind of practices?
Well, there's this segment on the Pioneer Files.
Okay.
And it talks about all these massive issues and events that happened with the Pioneer Drum Corps.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It led to whistleblower reports.
Wow.
Law enforcement got involved.
Seriously.
And DCI revoked their membership.
Wow.
And the fact that Pioneer hasn't tried to get their membership back since 2020 really tells you something about how serious it was.
It does.
It's like a reminder that even behind the amazing performances, and the dedication, there can be serious problems.
Right.
Like failing to protect the members.
Yeah.
Not taking responsibility as an organization.
And the video also talks about this bizarre situation.
What happened?
With some people from the UK.
Okay.
They were too old to march.
Oh, wow.
But they tried to march with Santa Clara Vanguard using fake passports.
Oh, my God.
And they got caught, of course.
I bet.
And faced legal consequences.
Why?
I mean, that's a whole other level of deception.
And then if we go back to the financial stuff, the Drum Corps refund policies,
right?
It just shows you how much risk people are taking.
Yeah.
Financially.
So many no refund policies for audition camps and even for contracted members.
So if something happens, like a personal issue, an injury, or you get cut, that money's gone.
It's gone.
It's like this activity, with all its artistic value and the amazing dedication of the members, it's operating within a system that can be so exclusionary.
Yeah.
Financially.
And sometimes even exploitative.
Which brings us back to that bold Future Vision article.
Right.
And it's radical ideas for change.
Yeah.
Like moving the activity indoors. It's not a compromise or a step down.
No.
It's a real opportunity for something better.
Right. And the article makes a strong argument.
Yeah.
Moving indoors could save so much money.
Yeah.
All those logistical expenses.
Yeah.
Like fuel for buses, vehicle maintenance, food costs, housing.
Yeah.
And there's already infrastructure in place, like school gyms, community centers, indoor venues.
And imagine the creative possibilities.
Yeah.
The article talks about more intricate lighting designs, more focused and intimate staging,
right?
A stronger connection between the performers and the audience. And a huge thing is it would make drum corps more affordable.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
So important.
It, like, the article is reframing the whole idea of indoor drum corps. It's not a lesser version of the outdoor activity.
Right.
It's liberation.
Liberation.
Freedom from the weather.
Yeah.
Freedom from all the travel. Freedom from what they call the false grandeur of football stadiums.
And the argument is that creativity can thrive within these new boundaries.
Yes.
It's about focusing the energy.
Yeah, and it would be so much safer.
Oh, yeah.
And more inclusive.
Controlled lighting, predictable flooring, no more battling the elements.
Yeah.
It's a much more supportive environment.
Definitely. And the article talks about body shapes and sizes. It's like indoors, there could be more acceptance of diverse physiques.
Yeah.
More emphasis on expression.
Right.
Instead of this rigid visual uniformity you get on a football field.
Totally. And then the article goes even further. It proposes getting rid of the competitive structure.
Wow.
Altogether.
Wow.
Like no more competitions.
That's huge.
It is. Instead, they suggest festival-style showcases.
Okay.
Collaborative performances.
Interesting.
Co-taught workshops.
Okay.
And regional collectives.
It's like a totally different model.
It is.
Imagine that. No more rankings.
Yeah.
No more scores.
Just pure artistic creation.
Yeah.
And support between different groups.
It really challenges that idea that art has to be ranked.
Yeah.
And sold.
To have value.
It's like a capitalist way of thinking.
Yeah.
And the article is saying that cooperation and collaboration could actually create a better environment.
Absolutely.
More supportive environment. More creative environment.
Where the goal is to create with each other.
Yes.
To share resources.
Yeah.
To build community.
Instead of constantly trying to be better than each other.
Exactly.
And then comes the really bold part. It might be controversial for some people.
Yeah.
They say communism will save drum corps.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that word carries a lot of baggage for people.
Totally.
But the article explains what they mean.
Yeah.
It's not some unrealistic utopia.
Right.
It's about redistributing resources and collective ownership of the activity by the people who participate in it.
It's about giving power to the people.
Exactly. And they lay out specific proposals.
Like what?
Public investment in the activity.
Okay.
Free or subsidized tuition.
Wow.
Safe and dignified housing.
Yeah.
Nourishing food.
Okay.
Fair pay for staff.
Yeah.
Locally focused drum corps organizations.
Okay.
Democratic governance.
That's a whole new system.
It is. It's about addressing the inequalities.
Yeah.
Not just accepting them as the way things are.
And the article is clear that this change won't come from the top.
Right.
It has to come from the people.
Yeah.
Performers. The designers. The educators. The fans.
The communities.
It's a call to action.
Absolutely.
It's inspiring. It's like all these things we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The intense labor.
Yeah.
The financial pressure.
Mm-hmm.
The potential for exploitation.
Yeah.
It's all connected to bigger issues in society.
It is. Issues of labor, economic inequality, the fight for fair treatment.
Exactly. And the articles call for collective action to change the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful.
It resonates.
It does. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's recap.
Okay.
We've looked at this tension between drum corps as a meritocracy and the reality of class and financial barriers.
Right.
We've heard personal stories about the demands, the sacrifices, the highs and lows, and we've even seen some of the dark side, the unethical practices.
Right.
And then we explored this radical vision for the future, a future where drum corps is different from its finances to its performance spaces, to its very structure.
And its values.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. What do you think, Lerner? Can drum corps change this much?
Can an activity with so much history embrace this kind of transformation?
The article makes a strong case for it.
It does. It really challenges us to rethink what drum corps is.
And what it could be.
So this deep dive into the world of marching performance, it shows us that a lot of people think things need to change.
Yeah.
Can this activity, with all its passion and artistry, break free from its limitations?
And become something truly revolutionary.
The article says the seeds of change have been planted.
And they have.
This is the marching revolution.
Thank you for listening to the Marching Revolution podcast.
Boots on the ground with a thunderous beat. Hearts in sync, our purpose complete. Map of the future drawn by our stride. Through the struggle we walk unified. Marching forward.